few, the proud, the Marines. Battles are won within.
We'll always honor the bravery and selfishness of the Americans who
In that
serve.
place where promises are kept.
We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation.
Promises to oneself.
You're a really dull class.
Promises to one's community.
You're a damn liar, man. That's not true.
Promises to one's country.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
The few, the proud.
You know the thing.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. Let's check in on Joe Biden's approval numbers, shall we? Look at this. Joe Biden started off pretty high approval rating, 55%. Wow. It slowly degraded, and then bam, the inversion and inflection point right here. What happened in this moment that Joe Biden never ever recovered from? Well, what happened was Joe Biden slaughtered 13 American service members in Kabul in a preventable attack, a terrorist attack, killed 13 of our service members. And if you recall our pullout from Afghanistan, you remember checking the news every single morning like I did, because I have a lot of service members in my family, and gritting my teeth going, man, these people are going to their deaths. Something terrible is going to happen. And then one day it did. And we lost some of the best people to ever wear the uniform, some wonderful people who cared about their country, cared about the people of Afghanistan. They didn't have to die. And now we know what it was like on the ground with congressional testimony from Marine sniper Tyler Vargas-Andrews. This is some of the most difficult video I've ever had to watch of a congressional testimony. Check it out.
It is for the ground experience we were about to encounter. It was chaos, but we worked together to figure out the next best steps. Tens of thousands of people descended upon Abbey Gate. People were suffering from extreme malnutrition, dehydration, heat casualties, and infants were dying. Afghans were brutalized and tortured by the Taliban, flocked to us pleading for help. Some Afghans turned away from HKIA, tried to kill themselves on the razor wire in front of us that we used as a deterrent. They thought this was merciful compared to the Taliban torture that they faced. We asked him for engagement authority and permission. We asked him if we could shoot. Our battalion commander said, and I quote, "I don't know," end quote. No one was held accountable for our safety. About 1730, Staff Sergeant Darren Hoover, friend and mentor, came to get me from the tower to go help find an Afghan interpreter in the crowd. Then a flash and a massive wave of pressure. I'm thrown 12 feet onto the ground, but instantly knew what had happened. I opened my eyes to Marines dead or unconscious lying around me. And my body was catastrophically wounded with 100 to 150 ball bearings. The withdrawal was a catastrophe, in my opinion. And there was an inexcusable lack of accountability and negligence. The 11 Marines, 1 sailor, and 1 soldier that were murdered that day have not been answered for.
Murdered. That's what the man says. Murdered from on the ground. This man could have been among the casualties. His body was riddled with ball bearings. He is a Marine sniper. He was moved to tears as he recounted how the warnings of a potential suicide bomber were ignored by the leaders just minutes before the deadly Kabul blast. Sergeant Tyler Vargas-Andrews, a Marine sniper who served in Afghanistan during the American withdrawal, recounted the ordeal in testimony before the House Foreign Affairs Committee on Wednesday, telling members that the moment his friends were hit, a flash, a massive wave of pressure, and a suicide bomb detonated, killed his friends. This kind of stuff is so repulsive, and further followed by insult to injury, salt in the wound. Joe Biden, during the Dignified transfer ceremony, which happens at Dover Air Force Base, when they wheel those coffins off the plane, there is no more solemn of an experience that could happen in the American military. You are returning home, a death in combat, a flag-draped coffin, and Joe Biden was staring at his watch.
Nicole G., who was one of the 2 female Marines who were killed among the 13, she was the one who posted that Instagram post holding the baby saying, "I love my job," just a few days ago.
hard to look at, ladies and gentlemen. The Gold Star families said that Joe Biden was dismissive, that Joe Biden argued with them, that Joe Biden didn't want to hear them out, that Joe Biden stared at his watch during the ceremony because he had other things to do, you see. Family members of the U.S. Marines killed last week's suicide terror attack in Kabul airport are slamming President Biden in his behavior for the dignified transfer ceremony over the weekend. One Gold Star father accusing Commander-in-Chief of doing the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen by looking at his watch during the ceremony. You want to know why people cry still thinking about this moment? Is because they've never had a moment to heal. Somebody who's lost both of his legs is a member of Congress fighting for this country. His name is Brian Mast. He says Biden deserves shame for checking his watch during dignified transfer. That is precisely what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden also went on TV and had this to say about sending 13 American service members to their deaths.
No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and ability to do it, and we did it today. The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States.
Yeah, okay. Very successful. This looks like you destroyed a man's life. This looks like you maimed and mentally damaged a man for the rest of his life. And this is just the ones that survived. This is what Joe Biden calls successful, right here. These people, these young men and women are no longer with us because Joe Biden decided in a fit of pique that he was going to end the war in Afghanistan for some unknown reason, probably the dementia and brain damage rattling around his head, and he just pulled the plug. There was no plan. There was no strategy. Just leave these men and women to die. That is what we heard in this testimony.
This whole thing has been a gutting experience. I never imagined I would witness the kind of gross abandonment followed by career-preserving silence of senior leaders, military and civilian. As a result of the way that we've left Afghanistan, we're on the front end of a national security crisis as 27 violent extremist groups are now operating on former NATO security bases with Taliban top cover. And I think we're on the front end of a mental health tsunami, as 73% of our Afghan war veterans say they feel betrayed by how this war ended. Calls to the VA hotline have spiked 81% in the first year since the Afghan withdrawal, and they keep coming.
This is the image that is seared into my brain as I watched congressional testimonies this week. You can see there the prosthetic limb that this man now has for the rest of his life as, again, Joe Biden standing there checking his watch during the dignified transfer. This man doesn't have an arm anymore. Joe Biden sitting here checking his watch on his arm. An absolute, total, complete, decaying, despicable, repulsive individual, reptilian in nature, cold-blooded, leaving these men and women to die, sacrifice, quite frankly, to the Taliban terrorists. We should never, ever, ever forget that. These poll numbers should never, ever, ever recover. It looks like they're not going to. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden must be defeated for this, if any reason, alone. And there are a lot more reasons. We are going to defeat him. We're going to save America. That is our charge here. Thank you for watching. My name is Benny. See ya. Thank you for watching. Our channel is here to meme the libs until they cry and then to meme them crying. They're tears. They taste just like sweet, delicious ice cream. Salty, too. We ridicule the establishment and the libs because of you. Your support keeps us going. So if you like what you saw, please punch the subscribe button, click like, and ring the little bell so that you know when we're live. Don't you want to know when we're live? And make sure that you subscribe to our email list just in case the plug gets pulled, as tends to happen. If you want to see more of our videos, click here or here. My name is Benny Johnson. Stay free, Base Patriots.